years ago I was A&R for one of the Radio 1 DJs, and that basically entailed kind of sorting all of his records for his show, you know, picking records that could work for the show. And yeah, I did that for about 4 or 5 years, so I've always been kind of around the music, and even back then I used to play around with music software, Acid Loops or whatever it was, or something back then. And then yeah, gradually I just thought I'd like to kind of start making my own music, got a copy of Logic, and yeah, I've kind of been self-taught ever since, really. Back when you first open a copy of Logic for the first time, it's a shocking experience. I mean, you're just happy to get a kick and a hi-hat, like to sit together, and that's kind of it. I mean, I've made some shocking music over the years, and hopefully that stuff will never see the light of day, and yeah, it's gone, and but that's the only way you do it. I mean, you know, a lot of people nowadays, they'll go into the studios of engineers, and you know, you can make a track in a day, and a lot of people do that. They want to be DJs, that's cool, but for me, it's all about making music, you know, finding sounds, experimenting with kind of sounds, and that's really what excites me. I'm not one of those people that just really is dying to be in the limelight as a DJ or anything like that. You know, if people want to book me for shows, then that's amazing. I still love DJing, and I love the whole live aspect as well. Yeah, like I said, it's just been a journey of learning as you go, really. I still learning to this very day. I've got friends of mine that have been producing a lot longer than me, and you spend a couple of minutes in the studio with them, and you've already picked up more than you would from, you know, from trying to learn anything else. So that kind of stuff's super important, and yeah, just to put in the hours, really, in terms of producer. No one's going to make the records for you unless you go in with an engineer, but you know, there's no real shortcut to making music. You have to kind of put in the hours, and you have to do the homework. So yeah, every day is a kind of learning curve in the studio, really. So I mean, in terms of current influences, you know, going back a few years, I mean, the people that got me into dance music, as long as same with a lot of other people who thought it's Daft Punk. I loved the whole French scene, from, you know, from seeing Daft Punk at Global Gathering, whenever it was. It must have been like 10 or so years ago, and I think that kind of, for me, changed things, because, you know, just seeing what those guys did, and the records that they had, the whole live show, everything else. I mean, I was literally blown away by those guys, and I'm still a massive fan to this very day. And yeah, those guys, I love the whole thing. I love the fashion. I love the way they incorporate the fashion, the art, you know, the music. Just it's a lifestyle. It's a kind of a culture thing, and yeah, I kind of love the whole thing that they've done. And you know, their last album was amazing. Going in the studio with Nile Rodgers and all the stuff that they've done. You know, everyone had their mixed opinion of it, but music has to move forward, and for me, you know, Daft Punk will always be kind of the creme de la creme of anything electronic, and yeah, those guys are unbelievable. I mean, in terms of the guys that I kind of like at the moment, I like the whole kind of Cass Candy, Superflu, and him vibe. I like the way they kind of mix their real instruments in there, and their production's got such a kind of you know, a deep fat sound to it. You can tell that a lot of effort's gone into their tracks. You know, in terms of DJs, you know, I still love Felix. I spent the whole summer with Felix last summer, and you know, that boy still knows how to work a crowd. And I think, you know, a lot of people go into clubs nowadays, and it's kind of a heads down kind of thing. And you know, there's still something that's great about watching somebody like Felix. In terms of just a pure class DJ, you know, it's Digweed still for me. You know, Digweed's kind of the reason, again, that I kind of am making music now, because the way the whole Bedrock thing came about was I actually sent a couple of tracks that I'd made over to Scott, who's the A&R at Bedrock. I actually had no intention of ever putting these tracks out. I sent them over to him as he was one of the people on my iChat, and I just thought he could give me a little bit of feedback on them. And the funny thing is I didn't actually label the tracks as me, so they basically spent about, I think it was a couple of months in his inbox while he was trying to track down the person that actually made them. And I fired over a couple of more, and I think it clicked to him, but they almost basically missed it, so they almost never actually got signed to Bedrock. And yeah, Scott loved them and John loved them, and they basically ended up being the first tracks of John's next 2 compilations, and that was kind of the start of the Bedrock journey for me. I think I've had 4 or 5 tracks with them since. I played all the Bedrock parties. I mean, I just came back from Miami with John. I did his London parties, and yeah, John's been a big supporter of everything for me, so I'm extremely grateful for every kind of thing that John's done, because a label like Bedrock really puts you on the map. And you know, it's one of them labels where it's still got a cult following to this day, even though it's been going for God knows how many years, and he's still putting out quality music. And yeah, John's the kind of person that is massively influential to everything that kind of this scene is now. So being involved with him in any capacity is a huge honour for me. And yeah, I've got another track coming out with Bedrock, I think sometime in July. So yeah, hopefully be doing a lot more things with Bedrock.